Carolina on the ride. Carolina on the ride.
What's going on, Panther Nation? Bill Mack here with another edition of the Panther Prowl. Glad you folks could join me. The game literally got over just a few minutes ago. I wanted to take the time and thank you once again for clicking on my video, Panther Nation. Great news. Glad to come back here and drop a good video on you folks with some good news. Of course, the Panthers are now 3-2. They're over 500. What a great game we played. Again, our defense, Mike Davis, what more can you say about the dude? Robbie Anderson has been, to me and my eyes, the best pickup in free agent this year so far. He has paid dividends and then some, and he has stepped up to be the Panthers' #1 receiver. And don't forget, let's not forget Mr. TB5, Teddy Bridgewater. Oh, another great game today. Had chance, and the offensive line, just all facets of today's team pulled together. Now, we did give up a little bit, quite a bit chunk of real estate, yardage-wise, rushing the ball, of course. No one coming in, taking on Todd Gurley at home would be a test in itself. No Julio in the game for today. Christian McCaffrey still out for us. Quite a few things, kind of up and down. I'm going to give you my little bit of insight here on it, and a few notes, stats, and my normal. We started off the game today. It seemed like from the first drive when Atlanta got the ball, they were running the ball, and that's, if the Panther Nation, we know how hard that Atlanta Falcon running game is being against us. It seems like we always have a tough time stopping the run whenever it comes to the Falcons, and Gurley, of course, proved that in his first game, and by them scoring and running around, I'm like, oh no, here we go again, another game where they can't stop rushing. We had been doing well the last 2 weeks, but it was worrying me this time, you know, with the running game coming in this game, knowing how the Falcons are with it. But no, we got them off their game. They didn't stay with the run. They kept trying to get the ball out there. Of course, unfortunately, Dante Jackson went out early, or by the end of the first quarter with his toe. That, of course, is the toe he aggravated a few weeks back. It bothered him again. He didn't come back into the game after the end of the first quarter. So Troy Pride Jr. came in, tried to hold down that spot the rest of the game. We had a couple of drives that stalled, and it just, to me, it was showing that, hey, you know, I'm like, oh no, we're not. We've done had great games where we've ended up basically. We've had games where we've gotten the ball, got into the, to the red zone and scored. Now it was looking to me like, I hope we're not going to back up now. You know, we need to keep going forward. So, a couple drive stall. We had to settle for field goals. We don't want to get in that spot where in the red zone. I think it was the Buccaneers game where we went like 4 for 5 in the red zone and ended up getting field goals. But we did, and then so we settle for those. Fine, whatever. We go, and then, unfortunately, in the second quarter, injury bug bites us again. Defensive end Brian Burns, who was having a great game, so in the first half, he goes out, ends up getting a concussion after a great play that he had made by getting a strip, a sack, forced fumble that there should have been a. I was looking at the TV like, no. What they were trying to do was pick the ball up and run instead of just diving on the ball after they got the sack, forced fumble. But anyways, to me, that was the turning point. That one play was the turning point of the game for us in that second quarter, because it was pretty much the Panthers were doing well. The defense was putting pressure on Matt Ryan, our quarterback, which was great. You know, that's what we needed to do, was get the pressure put on him. That's what I was stating last in the preview show a few days back video, was that they needed to get pressure, try to get sacks, force interceptions, something to try to throw him off his game. Because once he's on, you know, they call him Matty Ice, he's on. So the Panthers defense did put some pressure on him, like I said, including that sack, forced fumble. We did have, off that play, we did have the Panthers' next possession. Of course, Teddy Bridgewater hits Mike Davis in the corner of the end zone off a fade, great pass. No, all along, Mike Davis, all along, a touchdown, got off that. And then we ended up scoring again, and back-to-back scores. Teddy had gotten a pass to Moore. Excuse me, I didn't mention that score in the first half. A 38-yard scamper. Moore cut across, and he done this great spin move where he spun to his right. He outraced his defender, got a good block, and went all the way down 38 yards for a touchdown for us. So Burns is out. Dante Jackson's out. Neither one come back. Unfortunately, like I said, Burns, I think, is in protocol for his concussion. Wasn't able to get back. So here's the stats for the Panthers at the half. Bridgewater was 20 of 27, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So kept the ball, was very efficient, didn't make mistakes, which is what is going to continue to happen, and is the Panthers can keep on and not turn over and make these mistakes. Davis had 7 rushes, 41 yards, 5 catches, 48 receiving yards, of course, with that touchdown. Burns, of course, had up to that point 5 tackles, 1 sack with a forced fumble before, unfortunately, he left the game. So he looked like he was on par for a big day had he not got injured. And like I said, the Panthers scored back-to-back touchdowns and scores there at the end of the first half. So the Panthers were down early 7-3, and the Panthers scored 20. Well, they were down 7-0. Then they got 20 unanswered points. So at the halftime score was 20-7. Now, coming in to start of the second half, Atlanta's defense, they showed a graphic that their defense had gave up 2 plays of 20-plus yards, and that made them 26 overall. They were, of course, leading the NFL. That's great for us. Ryan, like I said, at the half, coming into the second half, was 11 for 17, only 82 yards, which is great because that's what we need to do, keep him limited. And he had no touchdowns or interceptions. So keep Matty Ice down. Try to shut that run game down as much as you can, and good things can happen. So on the kickoff, Atlanta takes it down, gets a field goal, and that's their only points of the whole quarter. Now, Carolina, it was a back and forth third quarter, not a lot going on, and so no points in the third quarter. And then the Panthers, there was one good drive Atlanta put together where they were marching downfield, and the great thing was Justin Burris ended up intercepting Matt Ryan in the end zone, and that was able to take us out of harm's way, because I felt like if they would have gotten that touchdown, that would have been very viable in the Panthers and knowing what they were going to do. But the great thing is it stopped that run, and it kind of seemed like you could tell from the flow of the game Matt Davis was just pounding the ball. The dude was breaking tackles like crazy. I just couldn't get enough, of him and how powerful he was. 2 and 3 guys at a time trying to bring this guy down. He was doing a great job of controlling the clock. The Panthers were controlling in time of possession. Just ground and pound. That's what Panthers have always been about, ground and pound the ball. And, with McCaffrey being out, we're wondering, was somebody going to stick up? And, of course, Davis has stacked up, and he has stood up. So we're going to have a complimentary 1-2 punch with those 2 guys when McCaffrey come back, because Davis has shown his worth. He's shown that he can be in there. McCaffrey doesn't have to work the full load in this, and he's proven that in the games that Davis has been in and Davis has started. So we ended up basically we ended up getting another field goal off a Sly. Sly, of course, did a good job for us. Nailed his 2 field goals, and he basically he's got his field goal and or 2 field goals, and he didn't miss his extra points. So whenever Sly's doing that, great job for him. So like I said, it wasn't a lot of offense in the second half. Everything was more or less wear the ball down, run the ball, control the clock. Time of possession was important. You know, the Panthers got a couple times, like I said, early on, and it was just more or less going back and forth in that third. And they just beat up on each other. The Panthers just ran all over the defense of them. Gurley, of course, did his thing. There was nothing we could do to stop him. Really fired up a couple times on a couple drives they had. It wasn't like he was dominant over the course of the game. It was just whenever the Falcons seemed to get on these, they got on this roll two different times. Like I said, it was only 2 memorable drives the whole game that they were able to do something, and really was it, or it was Gurley. So those two were kind of their standout stars, so much so coming down to the end of the game, like I said, it was 23-16. Of course, the Falcons did end up getting a drive with under a minute or so to go. They ended up getting a field goal, but with under a minute to go, they didn't get the onside kick. Panthers, of course, recover the onside kick and just run out the rest of the clock. So, the score, like I said, folks, as you can see here, 23-16. Bridgewater ends up 27 of 37, 313 yards. The 2 touchdowns, like I said, everything was mostly first half, but he did get the ball down and get the passes when he needed to. That offensive line, Russell Okung was back. You know, that was a great thing. Hated to see Brian Burns out. He was a really good motor in this game and what he did. Mike Davis, of course, Mr. Utility Man this week, 16 rushes for 89 yards, 9 catches for 60 yards and receiving, and a touchdown. Robbie Anderson, of course, our wide receivers were doing their jobs. I said these things had to happen in order for a Panthers win, and they did that. Robbie, of course, had 8 catches, 112 yards, no touchdowns, but DJ Moore, 4 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. That was that sideline reception that he caught. Great play by him. And, of course, Davis there to catch as well. On the other side, Falcons, Matt Ryan was 21 of 37, 226 yards, 1 interception. Gurley was 14 carries on 121 yards. And he mostly did have a lot because it took him maybe the first 1 or 2 plays in the third quarter to get 100 yards. So they kind of shut him down. And really, of course, the big star wide receiver for them, 8 catches, 136 yards. And our defensive player, I will say, we had quite a few guys in. Shaq Thompson, of course, led the team 10 tackles. Burns had 4 tackles, 1 sack. Marquise Haynes had and don't want to forget that Brian Burns getting that sack and that forced fumble. And, of course, Marquise Haynes getting a sack as well. So, Sly, 2 for 2 field goals, 2 for 2 extra points. What total team effort. Offensive line held up. Decent defensive line, got pressure. Ryan got a lot of pressure in his face. He made a lot of off throws. Hey, what more can you ask for, Panther Nation? Can't wait till next week's game. Thank you once again for everybody that's subscribing. Anybody that subscribes, comments, leave them below if you have anything you want to say, anything to suggest. Get my opinion, whatever it may be. I'm just glad to do these videos for each and every one of you. It's just a passion I have. I don't, do too many videos, but I love the Panthers, love Panther Nation, sports. That's my thing. So this is Bill Mack here, and before I close this video out, I want you to like this video if you can and will, share this video, and support and subscribe to my channel if you want more videos. Of course, I'm going to be getting them out there as soon as I can. And if you have any comments, of course, comment, drop it, and share it. So thanks once again, Panther Nation. This is Bill Mack here with the Panther Prowl, and reviewing dropping another video on you, and look forward to you in the next one. So with nothing else to say, Panther Nation, keep pounding.
Yeah.